Hello, hello, everybody. Good evening. I hope you're doing well out there. I hope everybody got their vote in and stuff. Welcome on in to another installment of Medical Talk in Layman's Terms with Nurse Charlene. And of course, that's me, Nurse Charlene. And tonight's topic, I wanted to get a little spicy and stuff. So I really was drawing on this board behind me and everything. But the topic is substance use disorder. What does that mean? The old way was substance abuse. So substance use disorder is the new way that we're supposed to be talking about it and everything. So welcome on in. Welcome on in, Auntie Josie. Good to hear from you. Auntie Josie says, good evening, everyone. Yes, welcome on in, my dear. And as we get started and get the party started, I guess, let me put a couple people on. And so I guess they're going to go on somehow. Let me see if it's going. Okay. Yeah, yes, it does it. And so I'm trying to put somebody on the actual live and everything so they can start talking to me. Because I'll say it once, I'll say it twice, I'll say it 100 times. Hype me up. And the only way I can get hyped up and start getting really into it when I start teaching and stuff is for you to get on in there and get your questions ready for me and stuff, because I'm ready for you. I did my studying and everything, so I'm going to bring you facts, and everything, and we go from there. Here you go. You just turn it up when you get to your room. All right, you guys and stuff. So welcome on in to Medical Talk in Layman's Terms with Nurse Charlene. And just wanted to say this. Today is November 4th, 2025. It's the national day that we are to vote, but it's also a personal, beautiful day for me. It was a day that my grandsons, they're twins, was born. So they made 3 today. Happy birthday, babies. I love you. I love you. Keanu and Cairo, my wonderful and handsome, oh my God, handsome grandsons and stuff. Just wanted to get that out there. Shout out to the parents, Michael and Lorelai, for giving birth to such wonderful little babies. They are just the apple of my eye and everything. But getting back to the podcast and everything, I usually want to make sure that I continue to bring you good information and everything. And if anybody is on that doesn't know me and stuff, I just wanted to say that I'm Charlene, Nurse Charlene, and I've been a registered nurse, active duty licensed nurse for 21 years so far. But I've been in healthcare as about 500 other things for 33 years now. It's 33 years. Oh my God. Who would have ever thought? But it's been that long for me in this healthcare field. So I definitely have a lot of experience and everything. So, and I am considered a licensed active healthcare professional. So when I'm getting on here, I'm not just coming from whatever my opinion might be or something like that, or making something up. I actually do research and try to bring you some cutting edge information and stuff, and a term that's kept simple. That's why it's called Medical Talk in Layman's Terms, meaning keeping it simple, so somebody that knows nothing about medical or nothing about what I'm talking about from time to time, because I just bounce around on different subjects, they can get in on this and know, at least be able to grab a nugget or two out of there that they could take in and use for themselves. And who knows, you might just save your life or somebody else's life by accident and everything. So it is good to know things and stuff and facts and everything. A lot of people that get on that ask questions or comfortable asking me questions and stuff, they're usually somebody that's in the healthcare field or has known me my whole life and know what I know, and everything, or heard something. So that's the other good thing and everything. So welcome in, Sandra and Sandra and T. She said, "Good evening, Nurse Charlene and Rosie. The Rosie is my mom, and Rosie is on. Welcome in, Rosie, my mommy." And also, she said, "Good evening, happy birthday to your grandbabies." Thank you, Sandra. And her and T is on. Welcome in, T. Thank you for coming on and stuff. Welcome on in, Miss Maria. She said, "Hey, Miss Allen." Happy birthday to your grandbabies, the big three. I know, it's weird. I got grandbabies that are 3 and I'm only 21. I'm like, oh my goodness and stuff. But okay. Yeah, 21 plus 21. But anyway, as I digress and stuff, welcome on in, you guys. Thanks for coming on. I'm talking about the good stuff. Substance use disorder, also used to be known as substance abuse. And a substance is a substance, but I give definitions and everything. So going back to layman's terms, I'm keeping it simple, but definitely want you to know what I'm talking about. And this one is, as you can see, my beautiful board behind me. It has the different top substances to be abused and stuff. That's just some of them. And then over here, I got the little liquor, just guess what it is. I don't know. I'm just trying to draw. Then I got a cigarette. And then I got, it looks like a vape pen, a cigarette or vaping that's still smoking a cigarette and stuff. Is just in a vape form. Okay. Then I got me a little box of U-ports. Everybody know what that is. I just say U-ports. And then we got some Percocets, some fentanyl, some Xanax and stuff like that. Anybody that's still shooting up heroin, we got us a little needle, a hypodermic needle, and marijuana, the split leaf. If you don't know about that, then you got your little baggie over here with some little kush up in there, Nah, that's my version and stuff. Don't judge me. But anyway, and stuff. Yeah, you got, I want to keep it, to where that I really took the time out to make a pill, a capsule, to make a tablet, to make a medicine prescription bottle. Right there. And stuff, making a medicine prescription bottle, with pills in it and stuff, so that you know what I'm talking about tonight and stuff. A cigarette. I even tried my best. I put a little smoke coming from it and everything. Okay, I'm gonna stop getting all detailed like that. But anyway, let me read my podcast disclaimer so I can continue to stay within my legal means before giving you some information, general information. And that is, the podcast is for informational and educational purposes only. It is not intended to replace professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always consult with your physician for any medical concerns. If you have questions about a medical condition, reach out to a qualified healthcare professional. Never disregard professional advice or delay seeking it because of something you heard on a podcast. Guest views are their own and may not reflect the views of the host or this podcast. The information shared is for general knowledge, just more than you had yesterday. It should not be used for any legal or medical purposes, meaning I can't help you with your lawsuit, but if you're doing it in good faith and somebody did something wrong and stuff, I hope you win and I hope you get them. All right. Always consult with a licensed professional who knows your medical history for a meaningful evaluation. They're not nosy. They need to know your information so that they can gather the information together to give you the right answer to what you're seeking. Stay informed, but always seek professional advice when it comes to your health. So yes, stay informed, Find out why your body is snitching on you. Find out why you got that headache, why you got that earache, why you got blurry vision and it feels like you're about to lose your vision. Find out why you're going to the bathroom 15 times a day, instead of, 8 or 9, Find out why you're not going to the bathroom at all. Constipation. Find out what it is. Because if you don't, you're going to mess around and faith around. Somebody gave me that. Faith around and find out. Or F around and find out. You can put F or whatever word you want to put on the beginning of that and everything. But that's basically how it goes. So welcome on in, you guys and stuff. Y'all right here when I'm starting and everything. And so what I like to do is get to the meat and potatoes and stuff. And I want to do a little bit of statistics. They might be a little weird because I didn't cross it out and put down what I wanted to put down and stuff like that. So it might get a little weird, but I'm going to try my best to kind of navigate through it and stuff because I want to give you the good stuff while I got your attention. Okay. I hope everybody voted. I voted. And everybody in my household voted and stuff. Y'all got to get that out there because they is being a hot mess with us, nowadays and stuff. I don't want to get governmental and all of that stuff or economical, but when y'all cut off food stamps, I don't care, and stuff. I'm a nurse, of course I don't qualify for food stamps, but I'm saying when you get to cutting off food stamps and stuff, and I've been a recipient of getting them and benefiting from the food that was bought with them, back in the days and stuff like that and stuff. So when you're cutting that off, what people gonna eat? You didn't cut it off and then give them a job paying that much, and stuff like that. So yeah, but anyway, just food for thought and stuff. I hope you voted. Okay. I know. I just go off on the sidebar every once in a while because this is live and up to date, and stuff. This is live right now, and so this is the best time to get everybody, and get you in tune and everything. So just a quick snapshot of the past few years from 2020 to 2025 and stuff, and give or take more recently in the past few years, but about 50 million people age greater than or equal to 12 and above, which is about 18% of the US population, had a substance use disorder. So you see why I pulled out that statistic, because I'm talking about substance use disorder. And so they said 17% of our population. Yes, Maria, she said you're right. Yes, amen. Yes, and stuff. So listen to this one. Alcohol use disorder. It's a such thing as that, alcohol use disorder, AUD. And it's another one called drug use disorder, which is DUD. Both are very common, and about approximately 30 million of the population in the US. I can't talk about everybody else, but the US, and 30 million had a alcohol use disorder or a drug use disorder. It's very easy. I'm gonna tell you how easy it is. Okay. Very soon. And so, but I'm saying they had these disorders, and I'm talking about substance use disorder, but these fall under that and stuff. That's how easy it is. And then when you see why I'm telling you this, then you'll see what my whole topic is about. Overdoses and deaths surged during the pandemic. That was basically 2020 to 2022 and even into 2023 and everything. That was our pandemic. But guess what? They just declared it's not anymore, but you still can get COVID any which way you want it. You're just not dying as fast, and it's not as deadly and death rated as it was, and the stigma. But just like AIDS and HIV still exists, COVID still exists. They didn't come up with a cure. So I want y'all to don't be mistaken just because you get to go outside. You still can go outside and go to a concert and you can come back with COVID and give it to all your family and stuff. Just let you know that, and stuff. So don't be fooled. Stay awoke, stay woke, meaning keep your eyes open and your eyes on the prize, because just because they say it's no more, because the government was shutting down, we didn't have money and stuff. Everybody stayed home, everybody worked remote. They wanted their buildings back. They wanted the people back inside the buildings and stuff. So they said it ain't COVID no more. Yeah, it's still COVID. They gave you a vaccine to help you fight COVID. The vaccine is not the cure. It's a booster that helps your body remember that COVID is what COVID is. And they don't, when they give you the vaccine, they don't give you COVID. They give your body a memory of a COVID-like symptom and what COVID does and stuff, so that your body remembers it and it fights harder than it did when we was like, oh no, it's AIDS, or something. You know what I'm saying? So you still got to protect yourself. There is no cure. There's no cure for AIDS, HIV. There's other things and stuff. Don't think that that's not still out there, and stuff. So that's what I'm trying to say. This is serious. This is very serious. Maria said, protect yourself and your family. They don't want to give the funds anymore that they were given to for COVID. Exactly. They don't want to even give it to you no more and stuff. All them little extra hours. I know I took advantage of a few little hours and stuff where they give you up to 40 hours of paid time off so that you could take your time, and stuff. I just remember even having COVID, and the employee health will call and say, how you doing, Charlene? And I was like, yep, I'm dead and stuff. I was very angry and very hostile and stuff. And then they say, oh, okay, I'll call you a couple days later and stuff. So that was a Wednesday. They called me on Friday. I said, I'm still dead. And I was mad. I had no taste buds. My nose was bleeding, mixed by being dried out and burning like somebody punched me in it a 1,000 times and stuff. I couldn't breathe. I was short of breath. I was dizzy. I had wobble legs. I had ear pain. I felt like the Walking Dead. I felt like I was a zombie, like it was an out-of-body experience and stuff. I had no taste buds. Water tastes like crap. Everything tastes nasty. My face, I got so pale that I literally looked like I was Caucasian, and stuff. My lips dried up. Oh my God, like my skin was gone. It was just, I looked like I was either dying, dead, or died and came back and died again or something like that. It was crazy and stuff. And I say all of this to say that, and then you gonna convince me that I'm not catching that again if I can help it. Now, if I have to and stuff, I have to. But I'm saying all of that to say that, yeah, you can't convince me that it ain't gone until it's gone. I don't want to ever test positive for it, and stuff. And people are still testing positive. That's why I'm saying, like, it ain't gone nowhere. Like, stop it. Just because they stop giving you so many drugs or something like that and make the doctor stop giving you drugs, like I'm talking about substance abuse and stuff, that doesn't mean that there's not still drugs out there. Crack is still alive. Fentanyl is the new cracky crack, and stuff. Crystal meth, ice, you name it, it's out there. And guess what else is out there? Drink, Patron and Hennessy, white label, black label, green label, purple label, whatever and stuff like that. Marijuana is still widely out there and stuff. Oh no, Charlene, that's a plant. You so stupid and stuff. That's organic and stuff. Yeah. Until you smoke it and smoke it and smoke it and smoke it, and then you can't stop, and stuff. Then is it organic? Okay. We're about to get down. Okay, I'm about to get down and stuff. You know what? Maria said, is is COVID lab made? I'm not sure, but I don't know. This was a conspiracy theory, but I just want to say it. They said COVID stands for certified something vaccinated ID or something like that. The C, I think is it sounds like it is possible that it was lab made or some or somehow, because it came and then the symptoms kind of slowed down a little bit because everybody doesn't trust the vaccine. So some people got the vaccine and stuff, but other people didn't trust it, so they never got it done and stuff. And that's to each his own. I'm not here to judge, but what I am here to say is make no mistake, you better stay awake, and stuff. Don't let just the regular basic news. You need to get, if you got a computer, everybody has a smartphone and everything. If you got a computer, you need to get on down and get into there and stuff, and then bring that stuff on to here with me and stuff, and then we can, or private message me with some information and stuff, and I'll look it up for you and see what I see with it. Because I'm not going to shoot it down. I'm just going to say, I wouldn't be surprised and everything. It's too much out there going on. But you said you're just not making it a priority anymore because they don't want to put the funding out for it to be a priority. Exactly. And stuff. And then who is these people making decisions on whether this single mother working at McDonald's or something like that with her 4 or 5 children and stuff doesn't need that SNAP benefit and stuff, which is food stamps. SNAP is food stamps is Cal Works or whatever and stuff, or whatever it is and stuff, just that alone and stuff, that's so important and stuff. But I've never in the history of America, and I've been here probably not that many years, but enough years to know that, something is not right. Something is not right, and we got to open our eyes to this and stuff. We got to get prepared. And I used to always brag. Another thing I want to say is I bragged about but I'm getting ready for the tuberculosis. So I'm getting ready for the tuberculosis. So I got all these waters in my house, and everybody looking at me like, oh, you so dumb. Why you got all that water and stuff, all that bottled water and stuff like that? And and I got solar panel where you could use the sun to light up and charge my phone and all of that stuff. And I got 2 boats that inflatable boats that you blow up and everything. I got a generator and stuff like that. Don't come rob me. But anyway, I got a taser or 2 or 3 and stuff. But I'm saying I got all of these things and stuff, and it's because definitely it's some problems out there. It's definitely some problems. Now I want to get to these comments and everything, the COVID and stuff. So then I see Auntie Josie said, I had COVID in September and I had it 4 times already. Exactly. So is COVID gone, Auntie Josie? You see what I'm saying? So you gotta protect yourself, because we don't know what it's doing to you. But I know that every time you get COVID, just like every time you have a stroke, it leaves a scar on your lungs. That means your lungs are misfiring in that area that COVID hit again and again and again. And it's scarring your lungs and scarring your lungs and scarring your lungs. And it's going to be with you until you take your last breath and everything. So make no mistake, it's not like catching a cold and stuff. COVID is leaving a little DNA marker of stuff. You wouldn't even be able to donate your lungs because they're damaged, along with everybody else, including me, and everything. I couldn't get over it or something like that. I didn't even see it. Nobody sees it. You just get it and everything. Welcome on in, Cousin Tony. Thank you for coming on. I see you. You said, hey, I'm here, cuz. That's right. Thank you for coming on, my dear, and stuff. So Auntie Josie, I'm saying this not in a judgmental way, non-judgmental and everything and stuff. that definitely you would benefit from putting on your mask and everything. It is not gone. That's why you caught it so many times and stuff. Being out and working and all of that, and you working hard and you trying to do the right thing and stuff, and then you end up with it again because somebody else is acting up. They're coughing at that Walgreens, and you go in that Walgreens and get your prescription, and then you come out with your prescription and something else and everything and stuff. That's where all this is coming from. So I'm gonna go ahead and speed on through a little bit of this substance use disorder. It looks like I'm gonna probably go over a few minutes and stuff. I hope y'all got time for me and everything and stuff. But substance use disorder, it's a medical condition where repeated use of alcohol or drugs causes problems at home, work, school, or in your health, and causes your health to decline. Plus, the signs of dependence, such as craving, using more than intended, unsuccessful attempts to quit, the tolerance, building up tolerance, and withdrawal, makes it hard to stop or even recover from it. So then there's a thing called use, substance use versus misuse versus a disorder. So use, just using it, that means that you're consuming a substance. That means that you're taking a pill, you're smoking the blunt, you're drinking the alcohol, you're shooting up the drug, whatever it may be, or whatever people shoot up. You're popping a pill, you popping a Molly, you're popping a Percocet, or whatever and stuff. That's use. Misuse, using a substance in a risky or non-prescribed way. For example, taking extra pills. I got this because I had a knee injury and surgery, and now I'm still taking the Percocets that they gave me, prescribed to me, because they gave me so many that I'm still taking them, and my knee is healed up, but I'm still popping them pills. You see what I'm saying? I'm still lying to my doctor saying, yep, it still hurt, but I know I'm better, but it still hurt, but I need them Percocets. So I'm saying, yeah, it's still hurting, and then they might give me another prescription for some more, and so on and so forth. It becomes your everyday thing and stuff. Disorder, that was misuse, taking the extra pills and stuff like that, lying to the doctor saying that you need more, and stuff like that, when you're actually better, but you like the high that it gave you, or it calmed you down, or whatever it might have did. Also, there's a disorder. When it becomes a disorder is when it causes substantial harm or loss of control and stuff. So to your life. So it causes substantial harm, which means you get addicted. That's harm, because now you got to go get more, and you got to get more. And so that money that you would be using to get more and stuff, things are getting, your bills are going behind and all types of stuff like that, because you got to get more. So nothing else counts anymore and everything. So what we got? Rosie Granny Allen said, oh, is watching. This topic is real. Teach. Thank you. I will teach. Amen, Mom. And then what is it? Josie is kids learn how to smoke and drink because they seen their parents doing it, and they believe it's okay because they was having the party, like Luther Vandross, everybody sing and dancing to the music, and stuff like that. Yeah, it's so they think it's fun because y'all are all in there laughing. We got our little drink and stuff, we doing our little, old school kickback, and the kids is peeking in there, they supposed to be asleep or in their room, but they hear y'all having fun. I want to dance too, and stuff like that. So they peeking out and sneaking on the floor, looking in there and stuff. Or like me and my friends used to do back in the days. My mother had big Gemini parties and drink and everything. All the cups be still sitting there, the next day, and we be in there sniffing the cups and oh, this one smell like alcohol. Taste some. You taste some. And all of that stuff. And okay, don't think the kids don't know. We're smoking pine trees and rolled up paper bag and stuff like that, trying to mimic what we saw the parents doing. Theirs was a blunt back in the day, or some weed, some zigzags or something. Ours was a paper bag and some pine trees and a lighter. How we get a lighter? But anyway, I'm just saying and stuff. So you're right, Auntie Josie and stuff. She said the kids learn from their parents and they think it's okay. So I want to go over the top 6 most common substances abused from 2023 to now, and stuff. So number 1, yes, Maria, she said, tell the truth. That's right. And stuff. Number 1 is alcohol. Now, mind you, I said this is a non-judgmental platform, so I'm not here to judge you, but I'm here to inform you. You make your own judgment on what you're going to do or what you're not going to do. That's up to you because you're grown and stuff. I'm just telling you what's out there and how something simple as just having a little kickback turn into I need it. I gotta have it. I don't care if my kids eat. I gotta have my. Okay. So we're gonna go to alcohol. And alcohol is the largest number with a diagnosable substance use disorder. It's approximately 30 million of us in the USA, which is a nice 20% of the population. And stuff, and that's a lot. I'm telling you, that's somebody in every city, a lot of somebody's in every single city across every single state, and stuff, got something going on. And it doesn't matter how big or how small the city is, it got somebody there and stuff. So so going to that and everything, alcohol remains the most common and one of the most harmful at the population level. For example, a person starts drinking alcohol on the weekends for fun. Over time, they begin drinking every day. Need more alcohol to feel they need more alcohol to feel the same effect. And they feel shaky or anxious when they try to stop. They miss work, argue with family, and still keep drinking. Strong urges or cravings to drink, needing more alcohol to get the same effect because they develop a tolerance. And a tolerance means that one glass of wine that used to get you high and have you in the buzz, now you need 5 glasses of wine, or you need that whole bottle to yourself. After you develop a tolerance, that means a high tolerance. That means to get that same high that you liked, you have to drink more and more and more and increase it each day and stuff to get that same high, because now you're developing that tolerance and everything and stuff. So withdrawal symptoms that occur when you're trying to come down or stop drinking, that's why it's easier said than done. That really is a wise quote, or a wise I don't know what they call those and stuff. It'll come to me. But anyway, withdrawal symptoms are sweating, shaking, nausea when not drinking, continuing to drink despite knowing it's causing harm. You are spending a lot of time drinking or recovering from drinking and everything. And so I had another example of that is when you go to a football game. Okay, that sounds innocent. I'm going to see the 49ers. I'm going to see the Raiders or whatever and stuff. And you go there and stuff, and what they sell? Big old jugs of beer and stuff like that. Beer is an alcohol. Okay, first of all, I just wanted to say that. And also wine is alcohol, but also, Hennessy and Patron and all of them they're alcohols. Whatever it is the vodka is alcohol, Seagram's, gin, whatever, Tanqueray, whatever they're alcohol and stuff. So you go there innocent enough. You might have good seats and stuff in the skybox or something. What do they have in the skybox? A big old bar. It ain't just for chips and nachos and stuff. They got alcohol. And you can get you a nice little cocktail, and stuff like that. But what if you need more and more and more and you didn't have 5 cocktails? Then you want to go to a sports bar after the game, the after party and stuff, and then you drink there. And then after the party, then they might have an after hours lounge or something like that. And then you drink there. When are you not drinking? And who driving you to these places? And okay. So you see where I'm going with that and stuff. It could be innocent and it doesn't have to be football. It could be the basketball. It could be soccer. It could be whatever and stuff. I'm just saying, all of those things and stuff. And so, yes, Maria, she said, and a lot of times we all have addictive personalities already and it's in our blood. Absolutely. Like, make no mistake, having, like the Indian, and stuff in your blood and stuff, like Cherokee Indian, and stuff like that, Native American and stuff. They, that's in your blood and stuff. And they were really susceptible to alcohol and everything and stuff. And then it's just different ethnicities and stuff. And believe it or not, it's not just African Americans that got the highest amount and stuff. It's so many ethnicities with the highest amount. So African American doesn't even get to be at the top of that list. It's Caucasian. It's the African American. It's also our Asian groups and stuff like that. They have their sake and all of that stuff. It's just so many that it's just hard to even keep up with it and stuff. But it's all ethnicities. It's all human beings, period. It doesn't matter what you are. I got Indian in my family. I got so-and-so. I got Jamaican in my family and all of that stuff. It doesn't matter and stuff. It's all ethnicity and stuff. So that's just alcohol. And that was only number 1, you guys. Let me get on to number 2. Number 2. Weed, marijuana, perk, kush, za, whatever you want to call it. Okay. So we got marijuana. It's a large and growing number of cannabis use disorder. Approximately 20 million. That's a lot, y'all. It's a lot. That means in every city, in every state, in the United States, yeah, they get down. So, example, and this is how I can do it without trying to go over every single drug and everything. I will be going over some and everything. And oh yes, Maria said wanting to numb real life. Yeah, that alcohol was number 1, but that ain't the only one that you can try to numb your life with. There's also marijuana. Charlene, I know you're a nurse and stuff. Y'all probably can't, do that because y'all get drug tested and stuff. But girl, that's a herb and stuff. I don't know why you be acting like that and stuff. It's a herb. It's organic and natural. And so is it? Well, do you know what they put on the weed? Since you are an expert, a connoisseur or whatever and stuff, like you need to let me know and stuff, because if you're gonna tell me that, then you gotta give me a little facts so that I know what I'm doing, and stuff. But you said African American or Black are just always on the floor higher and partaking. Well, yeah, that is true. And so, and then you see it now and stuff, the trends and stuff, but everybody, the rappers don't speak for everybody. They don't speak for me, and stuff like that. Rapettes or rapper, the girl rappers or the boy rappers or whatever and stuff, that be, I got to have my so-and-so and all that, and stuff like that. I get it, but I'm saying they don't speak for every African American and everything and stuff. And you said it's probably used to be yes, that's what I was trying to say with that and stuff. It probably used to be natural, but the way they have chemicalized it and how to get you higher and addictive, it's not natural anymore. It's absolutely not natural. They cut it with stuff, they put it in, they put other drugs in it, and stuff, and mix it together and stuff. They they even got to the point where they had started when I say they, I'm talking about these people that get together and chemicalize everything and stuff like that. These scientists or whatever, mad scientists, they get together and they soak your blunt papers, because you don't do the zigzags no more in the little herbal papers. You use tobacco, which has the nicotine in it and stuff like that, which is another addictive substance that I'll be talking about. And so they use that and stuff. So you're putting more than one substance together to get high. And that's why you get high. But then look what happens to you. So now that I'm talking about cannabis, I got a good example. A college student begins using marijuana on the weekends to relax. Okay. Over time, they start using it daily, having trouble concentrating in class, skipping assignments, and feeling irritable or anxious when they try to stop. Even though their grades drop and friends express concern, they continue using it, showing signs of cannabis use disorder. So the key symptoms is craving or strong urge to use cannabis, using more or longer than intended, trouble cutting down or stopping, spending lots of time using or recovering from cannabis, ignoring responsibilities or activities, using despite problems in relationships, developing a tolerance, which means they need more for the same high that they got when they first liked it. Withdrawal symptoms like irritability, insomnia, anxiety, and appetite loss, because you get the munchies when you have to stop. It used to give you the munchies and you could eat for hours and hours and stuff like that, and then boom, it's a problem and everything. So welcome on in, Mike Jefferson. That's my son, you guys. Welcome on in, baby boy, and stuff. I think I see Maria said something. He will be more addicted to the tobacco paper than the stuff that they roll it in than the actual weed. And I don't think people realize that when they get the naked, is it naked? I can't see good. Let me see. Naked. Oh, when they get the naked, that's what it is. Exactly, because when you get the regular papers, they probably don't get you high because the nicotine or that tobacco is the addictive property and stuff like that. So when you roll it in there, you're getting a twofer. You're not just getting weed. So then Mike Jefferson said, I have a young student I used to teach who overdosed and died from fentanyl. It started when his friend jokingly put it in his blunt. Then he kept searching for it. I spoke to him before his passing, and he told me that the honest truth is that it's not really good. He really liked it, but he's been hospitalized once or twice before it finally took his life. Stay safe, y'all. You hear that? I mean, that's just devastating. And I know that if you said that it's a student, that he had to be younger than you and stuff. So this is a baby being taken out this world because of a joke. Somebody, drop something in there. This is just like a date rape drug or something like that, where they drop the drug in there and then the person is gone. And then now that they're gone, and then they get raped or something like that, or taken advantage of, and then they turn around and now they want that drug because now their life is ruined. It's a stigma, you feel filthy or dirty because people raped you or gang raped you or something like that because they dropped something in your beverage at a club or whatever and stuff like that, and these things. But even with this fentanyl, there's a fentanyl crisis. And stay tuned, you guys, because I'm going to actually get an expert on so that they can talk about this in more detail, the lowdown and dirty about these zombies and its contortionists where they bend over and bend backwards and just stays, in its zombie like state and stuff like that, which is fentanyl. And it's going to be titled Fentanyl Crisis in the US and stuff. So I will be talking about that. But thank you guys for giving me the examples and stuff, because this is real substance use disorder. Now, Mike Jefferson's student's case and stuff, this was by accident. Like, he didn't seek out this drug of choice, which was fentanyl, that was dropped into his marijuana. And he smoked it and stuff, and then developed the addiction for not the marijuana, but the actual fentanyl, which is 10 times, 50 times deadlier than just marijuana and everything. And then to be searching it and be hospitalized over and over, but he can't get off of it. So that's what I'm talking about tonight and stuff on here, is that addiction and why that ends up happening. So you see how when I was talking about, the drugs, and I said the key information as key signs and symptoms, the craving, the strong urge to use, the using more and longer than intended, the trouble cutting down or stopping, spending lots of time working on how to get some more, using it and recovering from it, ignoring your responsibilities and activities. I'm not going to take care of these kids. I need my drugs. They're more important. I don't care if they live or die and stuff. I got to get mine, exactly. And stuff. Developing that tolerance. But anyway, withdrawal symptoms like irritability, insomnia. I'm sorry, you guys. I choke too and stuff. I guess I got lungs and everything. But anyway, anxiety, appetite loss. I'm excited. Sorry, you guys, and stuff. So then we got number 3. This is the big one. Even I had to take a look at me. This is a big one. I'm just letting you know, because I'm a human being, then a nurse, and stuff, but a human being first and everything. And that is prescription opioid misuse and opioid use disorder. Okay. So misuse of pain relievers and illicit opioids drive the majority of overdoses, especially in fentanyl deaths. Overdose from fentanyl deaths. You hear that, Mike Jefferson? I can't make this up and stuff. Example: someone who had surgery continues taking leftover pain pills weeks later just to relax or to feel good. That is misuse. Okay. And so opioid use disorder, a type of substance use disorder where a person becomes dependent on or addicted to the opioids, which is usually prescription painkillers or illegal opioids like heroin and fentanyl. And it involves strong cravings and tolerance, needing more to get the same effect that you got when you first got high and liked it. Withdrawal symptoms and inability to stop using despite the negative effects on your life, like breaking up relationships, breaking up with your mate, your man, your woman, and everything. Example: a person starts taking prescribed oxycodone. You hear that, right? A person starts taking prescribed oxycodone for back pain, then begins taking higher doses to feel the same relief, and eventually seeks out opioids illegally on the streets. Who got them oxys, and everything, because their prescription ran out, because they was taking over the amount and faster than the amount that was already prescribed, because they just had to have it and everything. So the key point is prescription opioid misuse can lead to opioid use disorder, which is a substance use disorder. So y'all get it, what I'm talking about and why I named it that? Because the substance in this case is opioid. And then both are part of the opioid epidemic in the U.S., affecting millions of Americans each year. So in millions, you probably is one of them, and stuff, or I'm probably one of them, or something like that, if you're a human being and stuff. So it's not about who's on it or whatever and stuff. It's how you got there and stuff. Some is as simple as having a hip surgery or a knee surgery, or or hurting your back on the job and stuff, and breaking something or something like that, and then you're in pain. You're in honest pain. But guess what? When they prescribe those medicines, guess what? Their painkillers are made to go to the pain receptors. So they do that first, and they do their job. It doesn't matter if it's oxycodone, if it's MS Contin, if it's whatever and stuff. They are made to go to the pain. What happens when your pain, you no longer have pain, but you're still taking them 3 times a day? Then it's a problem. When you crossed over and started taking them and you wasn't in pain, you became addicted. You probably became addicted before then. But if you're taking them and you're no longer in pain and you're taking the medicine and everything and stuff like that, then that's when you need to reality check. Am I addicted? You got to be able to stay woke and check yourself. Your body will and stuff when it starts acting up like you need it. You got the little devil on one side and the devil on one shoulder and the angel on the other shoulder, and the angel like, go get you some help. Go get you some help. You turn into a little dope fiend and stuff. Go get some help and stuff. And you want to keep on getting on down. Okay. So now I said it's 6 of the most common. So I didn't say it wasn't a whole bunch of others. It's 20, 30, 40 and stuff. Yes. Cousin Tony said, yeah, that's right. And Maria was talking about the papers, the tobacco papers have that nicotine, which is the addictive property in it and everything and stuff. So now going on to number 4. So that was prescription drugs. So we got alcohol. Then we had cannabis. Then we had, what was the other one? We had cannabis. And then number 3 was prescription drugs like fentanyl and Xanax and all of those, and oxycodone or oxys and all of that stuff. Yes. And then also number 4 is stimulants and stuff. And that's the rising harm and overdose involvement. Methamphetamines disorders were reported at about 2 million with the methamphetamine use disorder, substance use disorder. We just plugging in methamphetamine use disorder. So you see where I'm going with that. Welcome on in, Miss Carol, Pastor Carol. She said, hey, Nurse Charlene, missed you too and stuff. Welcome on in. Thank you for coming on. Well, we talking about the big timer, and that is substance use disorder and stuff. So we're talking about number 4, which is stimulants like methamphetamines and cocaine. Y'all remember cocaine? It's gone like COVID, huh? Yeah, it's not gone. Crack is not gone. It's still here. It's just not talked about because fentanyl then took first place, wedding pageant, whatever and stuff amongst all the drugs and everything. So it just booted crack down and stuff. But people still smoke crack. Yes, yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. And stuff. So going into methamphetamine. So I'm gonna do something a little bit different. I'm gonna tell you why these are stimulants, drugs and everything. So methamphetamines, which is your meth, your crystal. Another one is called ice. I don't hear that one much, but it's still out there. Everything is still out there. It has not. They have not found the clue or made it just go away. It's still out there. It still gets down and stuff. For example, of a use disorder, someone begins using meth to stay awake for work or parties. Over time, they need more to feel normal. They lose weight. They sleep very little. They get paranoid and isolate from friends and family, but can't stop using despite these problems. When you start seeing one of your family members and they check out and they start isolating from friends and family, they don't want to talk to nobody. They don't answer no phone calls, and they don't reach out even a little bit and stuff like that. It's time for you to reach in and find out. See if you can save them. See if you can help them and everything and stuff. This is important, or they might not be here and stuff. What meth or crystal meth and ice and all of that stuff do for you is it gives you intense energy, euphoria, a fast heart rate. They probably can do without that. And then you start being aggressive. It causes aggression, causes you to be mean and want to fight, and stuff. It causes hallucinations. They probably don't like that either, but that's a part of the cause of it. And it also causes severe tooth decay. Welcome to meth mouth. That's where, they start missing the teeth and stuff. And it's not just a regular old dental problem. It's literally decaying their teeth at a rapid pace. The more meth they take in, the more they tear up the gums and the mucosa of your gums and stuff like that, and it starts breaking down, and then they start losing them teeth and they start dropping and stuff. Lots of teeth go out and everything, and that's what they call meth mouth. That's one under stimulants. Number two, cocaine, which is coke, the snorted kind. You roll up $1, the $20 bill if you're rich, and stuff, and sniff you some through a little straw. You roll it up like a little straw and stuff and sniff it. Or crack cocaine. I told you it wasn't gone and stuff. Examples of that use disorder is a person starts using cocaine socially, but soon feels they can't have fun or focus without it. Your body's snitching. They spend most of their money on it, experience anxiety and heart palpitations. Snitching. Heart's palpitations is where your heartbeat's all crazy and stuff, and it's irregular and stuff like that. They suffer from nosebleeds or depression when not using it. And what coke or crack cocaine gives you is short bursts of energy and confidence. You got that swag and increased heart rate. They can do without. Irritability. They get mad when they can't get more and stuff, and it crashes. It's like coffee. You drink coffee, but if you're a regular coffee drinker and you got to have your coffee to move and perform your daily work and stuff, then after a while you crash. It's like a sugar rush. Some people use sugar, candy or something to get high, and then they come down so harshly, and so you crash and stuff. And then depression after use. Now you depressed because you're using, and you can't help it because you're looking for the next time you could get high and everything. So that's, really important. So then key points. Both the drugs, coke or crack, can cause addiction very quickly, extremely quickly. The withdrawal symptoms include fatigue, which is feeling tired and blah, and stuff. Depression, sleep problems, and intense cravings because you want more. You got to have it. It's 2:00 in the morning. I need it. and stuff. Treatment often involves behavioral therapy, counseling, and support groups like our Narcotics Anonymous. And there's no FDA approved medication yet to help with getting you off, but there is recovery. And that's where the NA and AA, which Narcotics Anonymous is NA, AA is Alcoholics Anonymous, and then rehab and recovery, that's the same thing, and stuff. Rehab meaning drug rehab, not rehab like you had a sports injury or something like that and stuff, but the other kind of rehab for drugs and everything. So another definition, well, the next one would be prescription sedatives, tranquilizers. Now I said the other one was painkillers, right? This is a different prescription of, and then when I start naming the names, you'll know what it is and everything. And that is prescription sedatives, tranquilizers, benzodiazepines, and prescription drug misuse. And the definition of that is substance use disorder is involving prescription sedatives, tranquilizers, or benzodiazepines. It happens when a person misuses these medications, using them in ways other than prescribed. For example, taking a higher dose than what was prescribed, using someone else's medication. That's why I never tell a doctor that, because they'll try to kill you. But anyway, or using them just to feel calm or high. Over time, this can lead to dependence, tolerance, and serious health and emotional and social problems. Meaning, operation, you are addicted now and stuff. So, okay, I was just looking at the thing. I thought something else popped up and everything and stuff. So, next, so I'm going to give you the drug categories under this one. This is for this is the common drugs in this category, and this is number 5, and that is benzodiazepines. I know that's a big old giant word. Don't worry about it. You want to know this: Xanax, Xanny, bars, and stuff. Okay, Valium. Another word for Valium is diazepam. Ativan. Another word for another name for Ativan. That's the drug name. No, that's the brand name, and the drug name is lorazepam. And then the brand name is Klonopin. The drug name is clonazepam. So we got Xanax, we got Valium, we got Ativan, and we got Klonopin. And then we got prescription sleep aids. How many of y'all ever heard of Ambien? Well, that's a sleep aid, and it's not melatonin. Melatonin is organic, and melatonin is not the same thing. And you can buy that over the counter, but you can't buy Ambien over the counter. You need a prescription from your doctor. Or Lunesta, that's another one and stuff. I don't know. Okay, yes. Tony, because Tony said me, so she's heard of Ambien at least. And then the other one is Lunesta, so that is true and stuff. So these are the common drugs in this category that you could get addicted to. Even a sleep pill to help me go to sleep. Yes, they get you high. It help you relax and go to sleep. Shut you down. Okay. And then one that is not as common and stuff, but this is some hardcore, and that's your barbiturates, they call it. And one is called phenobarbital. Another one is called Seconal and stuff. And those are barbiturates. So instead of me going through all of this, because it would take me 10 hours to get you through all of this and stuff, I'm just, for time's sake. And so examples of misuse of this would be taking Xanax without a prescription to relax or sleep. That's one way of getting addicted. mixing a Valium with some alcohol to feel calm and numb out, because a Valium calms you down. That's if you got to get an MRI and you need to be calm, you're claustrophobic, they might give you a Valium or an Ativan prior to you going to get your test done to keep you calm. So when you go in that tube and take the pictures and stuff. But if you keep on taking Ativan after that, they give you 10 and you keep on taking them every day after that because you like the way it kind of calmed you down and you know, you didn't have to deal with the world and stuff. That's a problem and stuff. And that's how you get addicted. Or taking more Ambien than prescribed to get high or escape stress, not just to take it to go to sleep. I'm taking mine to go to sleep. Okay, I'm taking mine. I want to get high, you know, and stuff. And then that happens, you know, and stuff like that. And then you get addicted. And then you got to try to find a way to come down and come off of that and everything and stuff. So that's pretty bad. The reason why it's dangerous is because it can cause these particular set of drugs like Xanax and Valium and all of that. They can cause slow breathing, which means you're not pulling in enough air. If anything messes with your respiratory or your air, you know, your ability to breathe, it's a problem. Because no breathing, no living. You know, you don't stay alive. Okay. It causes memory problems. It can cause an overdose. And then you die that way and stuff. Also, especially when mixed with alcohol and other opioids, it just becomes a very dangerous combination. And most of these things are mixed, you know, and stuff like marijuana and tobacco products and, you know, alcohol and prescription drugs and stuff like that to make you higher, to get you higher and stuff. It just gets you more addicted and everything. Long-term use leads to tolerance and needing it more to get the same effect. And then withdrawal symptoms such as anxiety, tremors, you know, and stuff like that. I got Parkinson's or seizures, actual seizures, you guys. That's terrible and stuff and dangerous, you know, and everything. And signs and symptoms that you're misusing it or you got a problem on your hands is drowsiness and confusion, poor coordination or slurred speech, doctor shopping. Not because the doctor is not doing a good job for you and stuff, but because they're not giving you enough of your prescription. They don't. This doctor, I heard this doctor give you 40 oxys a month, and my doctor only trying to give me 10. Like what I'm gonna do with 10, you know, oxycodones and stuff. I want more than that and stuff. I'm going to my friend doctor. She said her doctor give her all types of stuff. She died a couple times, and he still be giving her medicine. Okay. Mood swings and irritability and memory loss, needing more pills to get high and get the same effect as that first initial high where it was just wonderful and stuff. Everything that's just wonderful might not be the best thing for you. Okay. Not even the best thing for me and stuff. So then treatment options. You could do a medical detox. That's where you go into rehab, drug rehab or recovery and stuff like that. Detox centers and stuff like that. And then they have behavioral therapy, which is CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, and support groups. That's your NAs, your AAs, and different things like that. I see Cousin Tony said, true, been there, done that. Addiction is real. It's very real. And thank you for speaking your truth and stuff. I respect that, much respect. Because she said, been there, done that. Meaning I've been there, done that, and I know it's a hot mess. And I was scared because I didn't think I could ever come out of it. And I did and everything. So why should I go back? I already know what put me there in the first place and stuff. So definitely being able to effectively cope. That's where the mental health, when I start my mental health phase of topics where I start talking about those different things and stuff, you'll see where all this comes together. And it's definitely real. It's definitely real and everything. So I said that about the treatments and everything And then another one, just one more example, is Sarah started taking Xanax for anxiety prescribed by her doctor. Over time, she began taking extra pills to handle stress and sometimes mix them with wine. Wine ain't nothing. It's grapes, and stuff. It's nothing. When she ran out, she felt shaky and panicky. She didn't realize she had developed a benzodiazepine disorder until she needed medical help to safely stop. She had to go through medical help to stop, not just anything and stuff. She had to actually really go into detox and recover from him. Welcome on in, Miss Whitney. That's my niece and stuff. Love you, girl. She said, great information for all trying to be aware of the outcome to the things we might indulge in. Absolutely. It might seem simple now and stuff, but after year, you notice that it starts getting real hard, and stuff. And then you start looking for that instead of looking for other avenues to fulfill that same feeling, and stuff, because you felt like you were coping, but no, you were masking it and stuff. Like I said, Tylenol, if you got a headache, Tylenol didn't heal your headache. It stopped it from hurting you. It didn't heal it. Whatever that headache was from something else. It could be from high blood pressure. So the Tylenol doesn't heal blood pressure. So you see what I'm saying? So wine, because I'm stressed out, I just need a little bit of wine. I need a little bit of I need a beer, to sit down and watch my game and stuff like that. I need this and stuff. What I'm trying to say is it starts off as simple as that, but when you have to have it every single day, even on Sundays, church day, or something like that, and you cannot stop, that's when it becomes a problem. If you find that you can't go without it for even one day, for a few hours, you got a problem, and you got to be able to check that. And the moment that you discover that that's happening to you, you got to run for the border, because you can't keep functioning like that. And before you know it, you don't even know that you didn't cuss your wife out or cuss your husband out or cuss the kids out or something like that. You don't even know that you did all of this stuff, because you don't remember, because all you did was got what you needed and stuff, and you forgot that it has other effects on other people around you, like smoking a cigarette. There's secondhand smoke. So you smoke the cigarette and the kid get lung cancer. You know what I'm saying? Or your husband or your wife gets lung cancer. You smoke it outside, but it goes, or you smoke it in your room and it goes through the vent into the kids' room. It goes in the vent into the living room where everybody is sitting down that don't smoke, is sitting and chilling, and stuff. Okay. I'm just trying to make sense of something that just doesn't make sense half the time and everything. So I see Auntie Josie said something. I have been there, and I thank God for bringing me through. Absolutely. Speak your truth and stuff. I tip my hat to you and stuff. Yes, you can have been there, but did you get help? Because remember, you never get another you. So once you discover that I need some help and I need some and you look for the help and everything, you're already, adding years to your life that you would have been taken out a lot sooner had you not stopped, and everything and stuff. It's that serious. So although I got all this little cute stuff, the little bottle and the little pills and the little Newport box and cigarettes and all of that stuff, make no mistake, this is deadly, and it's a medical emergency. People are getting addicted to everything, prescription. And they even, do you wonder why at the CVS pharmacies there are Walgreens and stuff like that, they're locking up the medicines? Like Sudafed is behind the counter at the pharmacy now and stuff, because they're mixing these things, and they're getting very creative and mixing these things and melting them down onto the other drugs and stuff and putting them together, making the most potent stuff, and they're killing the customers. How you gonna make your money if you killing everybody? Okay. I'm just saying. And stuff. So I'm almost done, you guys, and stuff. A couple more minutes and we'll be done with this whole thing and stuff. There's so much good stuff, and I'm gonna probably post some more stuff in the comments after the live is over and stuff. But that's what I'm trying to get at. It's almost always multiple factors together: biological, environmental, and life events that cause these things to come out. Brain biology and genetics. Some people inherit higher vulnerabilities. I remember you saying this, Maria, and stuff about it being kind of common in the family and stuff, or African Americans or Caucasians or something like that and stuff. So it's some people inherit higher vulnerabilities to addiction or have addictive personalities, in general and stuff. So yeah, I'll try it, and stuff. Oh yeah, we was turned up. Yeah. Okay. But anyway, to addiction or respond differently to substances. Early exposure, like doing the drugs in your adolescence, starting young teens, young adults, ends up being a lifetime of substance use disorder. And the topic is substance use disorder. Mental health, depression, anxiety, trauma, mental illness commonly co-occur and raise the risk for you becoming a substance use disorder recipient, meaning you have the mental, you have the life experiences, like possibly being raped or something like that and stuff. All these things, they play a factor and stuff. If you don't say nothing about it and stuff, yes, nobody knows that it happened to you and stuff. And that I understand that and stuff. But what I'm trying to say is these things happen. How do you cope? How do you get to the other side? How do you get over that PTSD and stuff? It's certain behaviors that you're going to have and everything and stuff. Just know that do a self examination of yourself and your personality and stuff. I have to do it all the time in order for me to even come on here and do this podcast. Like going and being hard-headed and not getting my mammogram done until I just recently got my mammogram done, and they made me stay there 2 hours. I was like, y'all gonna tell me I got cancer? Like, what y'all gonna tell me? I'm a nurse. You don't leave me in here for no 2 hours. It was just that it was busy that day. But what did I think? Even now, this just happened about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago and stuff. So could you imagine that? I even called my mama. They told me don't put on my clothes and stuff. I'm finna put on my clothes. And, I'm ready to fight. And then he came in there. Oh, you're a nurse? Okay, well, I could just tell you exactly this. And he told me some stuff, but basically said that I don't have it, and stuff. But just a thought, why y'all left me up in here? I'm human too. I got emotions. I didn't like that. I told my doctor on the doctor. I told my doctor on the doctor. And they left me in there and blah, blah, blah. And I told her about about him, and stuff like that. And she was like, yeah, they do that sometimes. And I was like, you ain't gonna get them. But long story short, I'm saying all of that to say that even I'm a human being too. I got emotions. I got to check myself. If I get a prescription for this, I got to make sure that I'm not becoming addicted to what I'm being prescribed and stuff, or that I'm taking this the right way or something like that. I have to tell on myself, just like you, because I have the same thing as you, a human body. That's what it's all about. So when I'm doing this, I'm trying to do it to just let you know, to wake you up. Go ahead and go to that appointment. Oh, I don't feel like it. They so nosy. Tell them what they gonna do with it. We ain't even rich enough for them to do nothing. We not no celebrity and stuff like that. So Tell them. They might be able to actually solve your problems. And then you don't even have to go through the heartache of getting addicted to something and everything. You might have that personality that's addictive, which means you're vulnerable to being addicted to anything, faster and everything. Let me see what you said. I did it on my own with just determination. Absolutely and stuff. That's okay. Auntie Josie and stuff. You said you did it on your own and stuff. Yeah, there's other places out there because some people have very extremely addictive personalities and mentalities and stuff, and they need that extra help from a recovery and stuff. But even if you were able to do it on your own and stuff, just remember that you recognize that you had a problem. So you knew that you went that far, and I'm sure that because you recognized that you had a problem, you knew that you needed to tell somebody, your doctor or something, so that you could start the process of coming down off of whatever it might have been. It doesn't matter what it was and stuff. It just matters that you did go towards the recovery side and recognize that you had a problem and everything. So that's the good part. So another thing is social and environmental. So peer groups, like the kids, these kickbacks and stuff, underage drinking and stuff leads to being a adult, drinking, a young adult drinking, and then an older adult drinking, and then a lifetime of drinking. Go give me my beer and my pack of cigarettes. I just remember my mother telling me that about my grandmother and stuff. Sending my auntie and stuff, telling me that they would send her down to the store and she would get, whatever alcohol and a pack of cigarettes and all of that stuff, and what that must have been like for their parents, and stuff back in the days and everything. And yes, Auntie Josie said, I didn't tell no one, I just spoke to God. Well, at least you went to God first. A lot of people don't even think to go to God, and stuff. And they think that they're the God, or the drug is the God, and everything and stuff. So definitely that comes from having an early prayer life, and everything, and being involved and going to church. Why I gotta go to St. Kevin's? Why I gotta, you know what I'm saying and stuff? Why I gotta go to church? I hate church and stuff. They just, I only like the singing, or something like that and stuff. But if you don't get on in there and stuff, but at least the parents, they didn't go to church, but they sent you to church. And then you got to make sure you didn't misbehave up in there, and stuff like that, and act up and stuff. But thank God that you did have God in your life, and he was your source and everything. A lot of people are not lucky enough or have the wherewithal to use just God, and everything and stuff. And that's why they have all these detox centers and stuff, because some people just go straight to the top and everything. Wow, the Miss Maria. Yep, I'm going to read it all too. When I was under the age of 18, I was staying in a group home with 25 girls, and I loved them more. Let me see. I'm sorry. Girl, let me, because I'm going to get down on this one. I love this. Thank you, Maria and stuff. I'm about to read it in just a second. I'm looking for my glasses. Okay, I can't find my glasses. So I'm going to get down. And so you said, when I was under the age of 18, I was staying in a group home with 25 girls, and I loved them more, drug addicted and prostituting. At one point in my life, I was curious about cocaine because a lot of girls that I was hanging around were snorting it, and thank God I never did, but I always had this curiosity towards it. And we have this man down the street from the group home that would give us weed and cocaine and let us come and get his come in his house. And I always been so scary, I never indulged. And then it says, I never indulged and stuff. You're lucky and stuff, because being that that was, you were young, first of all, pre-adolescent, because it was about 18. So you're right there, a young adult, but not quite adult and everything and stuff. And then you're around all these girls that was doing the same thing, and stuff. So that's the peer pressure. Remember, I said the social and environmental. So peer group, that was what you were around. Poverty, stressful environments, being around all of them, and one want to fight the other one sometime, and this one was out there turned up doing this, she was in a car with so and such and all of that stuff, and all of that being around you and stuff like that. It wasn't no way out. I'm surprised that you didn't turn out even worse than that, and everything. But you know what? I still feel like it's like God always has his hands on certain people and stuff, because I had the nerve to, the reason why I wasn't addicted to alcohol is because I didn't like the taste. Meaning I had some life experiences that could have caused me to be a raging alcoholic early on, but I didn't like the taste of alcohol. I couldn't stand it. I couldn't stand the taste of it. So therefore, I couldn't get drunk because I didn't like it. And every time I did force myself to drink just to be with the peer group and stuff like that, I couldn't stand it. And I threw up and, like quickly, and stuff. My body wouldn't even let me accept it. The reason why I couldn't be addicted to marijuana, I had the whole lifestyle that would have caused me to be able to, substance abuse, marijuana and stuff. But guess what? I got so high, like the dude on Friday, like Ice Cube on Friday, where the whole world turned upside down, way back in the day when I think I might have been 12 years old or something like that and stuff. So at that time and stuff, the only reason why I was scared of weed for so long, because I got that high that I was sitting there, and I remember going into a zombie state, and I'm sitting there, and my mother, she was scared to take me to the hospital because I was on drugs and stuff. So she was trying to feed me pudding and stuff like that to bring me down. And I was just sitting there. I couldn't even swallow it. I was like a vegetable. I just watched it drop out and hit my shirt. And I was sitting up here like that and stuff. So that happened to me. So I couldn't do alcohol because I don't like the taste. I couldn't do marijuana because I got high and the whole world flipped upside down on me. And I got so high that, I couldn't even graduate to any other higher drugs because I couldn't even handle those. I never liked cigarettes because I choked so bad off of a cigarette that it was something about cigarettes. They irritated me from early on and stuff like that. But I'm saying that I still was vulnerable enough to be able to be addicted to all these different things. But the only reason why I wasn't is because it was a preference for me. I didn't like being high. I didn't like the way it felt. So I couldn't take nothing else. I couldn't pop a Molly and, and stuff like that. I almost got jealous of other people that was able to do that. So Maria, I thank you for speaking your truth and giving your testimony and stuff, because this is really important. And I know that I went over and stuff and everything, but when it's stuff like this going on and stuff, this stuff needs to be out. This stuff needs to be, get out and stuff. And I control how much time I stay on and stuff. I try to stay on an hour and 15, 20 minutes and stuff like that. It's only just over an hour and a half and everything. But in this case, with these particular people on that have been there and have been down that road of addiction and everything, this is why I get on. Because if I can help one person realize you did well, thank God that you made it, and stuff like that, then I know that my job is done, and everything and stuff. So I thank you guys, every person that got on, every story, and stuff, and being brave enough to speak your truth, because we know you're not that now and stuff. And that's okay that you were that before and stuff. You made it out. You made it out. So it doesn't even matter at this point. As far as when you say it and stuff, I appreciate you guys. And cousin Tony said thank you. Thank you, thank Maria, thank Auntie Josie, and anybody else that's had to deal with any type of addiction. Thank me, because by default, I couldn't be the dope fiend that I must have been destined to be, and everything and stuff, because of things that happen and stuff. But if you see inside some of the testimonials, and you guys go back and read this and watch the replay and read these comments and everything and stuff, and I'm going to be making comments on the comments, and everything and stuff also. But just really look at this and stuff, because that took a lot, Maria. That took a lot, Josie. That took a lot, Antoinette. To speak your truth, and everything and stuff. And this will help other people, what I'm saying and stuff, and other people that was on my niece Whitney and stuff, my other bonus auntie Sandra, and different people and stuff like that. This is real deal. Like, we're not playing here and stuff. I'm not getting on here for fun and stuff. It's too much other fun stuff. You could scroll on social media right now and find something else to watch and find something else to do. But who real like this? Remember, I said your body is a snitch, and you better believe it and stuff. I meant that. But not only that and stuff, you got to remember, when I said snitch, I'm not talking about snitches get stitches. I'm talking about your body symptoms on you. Your symptoms is how your body tells on you. That's what I mean by a snitch, is telling on something that's wrong with you. That's why I said, make no mistake. Just because, I don't do none of that stuff. I don't be doing no crack and no fentanyl and stuff. All I do is I take my little medicine and stuff. Are you taking it the right way? Or have you tried all natural, and stuff like that? What have you done? Have you examined yourself from the inside out and the outside in and stuff? Are you really looking at yourself? Because remember, once you're gone, you're gone. There's never going to be another person with your personality, with your attitude, with your way of being, how you are, how you grew up, and anything like that and stuff. Nobody is ever going to be that for you and stuff. It's never going to be another you and everything and stuff. Oh, so Rosie Granny Allen said, love that board. Keep on teaching in Jesus' name. Amen, amen, amen. Yes, sir. Thank you, Lord, for the podcast. Thank you, Lord, for the podcast. I like to say that also and stuff, because at the end of the day, you're going to find some therapy inside this podcast, because it's us getting on here telling our life, and it don't lie. Anytime you can tell your life, you become an expert at what you went through and everything and stuff. And so I thank you for even making me comfortable, so that I can tell you some of the things and what I could have been addicted to or something like that. But the only reason why I wasn't is because of this. Not to say that I can't be addicted to something, just saying that it didn't happen because of this or that and stuff. But definitely make no mistake, this tonight, substance use disorders, period, is a medical emergency. And I don't know if I got to number 6, but number 6 was actual tobacco and nicotine. And that is a substance use disorder. Cigarettes are addictive. The nicotine in cigarettes, the nicotine in that tobacco paper that you roll the weed up with, you just use 2 substances to get high with, and stuff. So yes, it is a substance use disorder and stuff. Make no mistake. And I thank you guys for tuning in. I thank you for taking the time out your evening and your busy evening, vote night and everything. Shout out to my grandsons, Keanu and Cairo. They are 3 today and stuff with their little handsome. Ooh, they just, ooh. But anyway, and stuff. But shout out to them. Shout out to everybody that came on. If you came on later on in the podcast, or not early in the podcast, or you had to leave for, other reasons and stuff like that, just make sure you catch the replay. I stream via Facebook Live and YouTube at the same time. So catch my YouTube channel, YouTube page at Medical Talk in Layman's Terms with Nurse Charlene. I'm now branching out to Instagram and also TikTok. So y'all gonna catch me on there as soon as I catch up and figure out how to get everything on there and start doing that and everything. But let's make this thing blow up and do what it needs to do. Give people some good, honest facts and stuff instead of all this fiction that's out there, you know, and everything. And just remember, your body is a snitch. Believe it. All right. Take care, guys. Love you all. And wait, one more. Let me go ahead and do this. Maria said, yes, because your board in the background is dope. Yes, I'm trying to turn that into a book, you guys, and stuff. I'm definitely trying to turn that into a book. You always do a wonderful job. I love looking at it. Thank you so much and stuff. I'm trying to get it, you know, better and better and stuff. But I appreciate you. I do work hard at it. I'm not gonna lie, and everything. And then Tony, let me see. You said thank you, cuz information you give every week. It's so powerful and informative. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for that. And then Maria said, I love that for you. Oh, y'all gonna have me blushing. Okay. And Auntie Josie said, good night, everyone. So good night, everyone. And I'm saying the same. Good night, everyone. And remember, once again, your body is a snitch. Believe it. It's telling on you. Let's listen to what it got to say. All right. Take care. Yes.